Our culture obsesses over the idea of a financial windfall. We fixate on the winning lottery ticket, the viral startup, or perfectly timed crypto spikes. This creates an event-driven mindset. We are conditioned to treat financial success like a lightning strike, waiting for a lucky break instead of building a structure to contain it. Look at this animated diagram, which tracks an initial spike of massive income, like an athlete signing a rookie contract or a sweepstakes winner cashing out. Despite the huge influx of capital, the net worth line frequently collapses back to zero. Now, a second line appears, representing a steady salary. The income is flat, but net worth curves steadily upward over time, compounding into millions. Wealth retention is an engineered system. Without a structural blueprint to direct capital, a sudden windfall eventually collapses under its own weight. Building that system begins in the zero state. The process mirrors physical engineering. You survey the terrain before laying a foundation. You have to discard vague desires like getting rich and replace them with a quantified mathematical target that defines prosperity for your specific household. Once that target is locked, you map the required inputs. You calculate the monthly cash flow needed to bridge the distance between your starting state and your final number. These dimensions separate a predictable blueprint from the risk of building a financial future on guesswork. After drafting the dimensions, the focus shifts to structural integrity. A skyscraper must withstand wind shear. A financial plan must survive economic shocks. The primary mechanism for preventing a complete collapse during a crisis is load distribution. This diagram illustrates an emergency reserve in action. When a sudden high-pressure event hits, like a sudden job loss, the impact is diverted into a secondary reserve tank, keeping the main line stable. From there, debt management acts as the systematic removal of stress points. Clearing out liabilities reduces the external pressure on the system, which allows the walls of the structure to thicken. Finally, asset diversification distributes the remaining load across multiple pillars. If one asset class stales, the system continues to flow through the parallel channels. By dividing capital across these distinct layers, the system isolates the impact of a crisis. Even a major loss in one sector only affects a fraction of the total volume, turning a potential disaster into a manageable strain. With a defensive structure in place, the blueprint moves to scaling the system outward. This requires breaking the linear relationship between the hours you work and the income you earn, effectively decoupling your time from your money. In this visualization, initial capital begins to duplicate through appreciating assets. These shapes then multiply exponentially, acting as an automated engine that grows independently of your daily labor. Eventually, the passive output generated by these investments exceeds your initial labor input. The system begins to loop back, creating a self-feeding machine. Prosperity is realized when the system can sustain and scale itself without your active intervention. This transition requires moving from a passive consumer reacting to the economic weather to an active architect designing a personal environment. The stability and freedom granted by this structural design defines prosperity far more than the simple accumulation of currency. Stop relying on financial guesswork and begin drafting your wealth blueprint today.